Alright guys, this is going to be a quick video on how to make it so that when you press a button on the keyboard, it triggers something else to happen. It can be pretty easy to do. All we're going to do, we're going to first make a new C# script. I'm going to right click, create, and click on C# script. And I'll name this keyboard action. Sure, why not? And press enter. From there, I'm going to go into the script, double click on it, and then Visual Studio should open like so. Alright, so if we want to make something happen when we press the keyboard, it can be pretty simple. We just need to know about one main thing. We need to first know how to get the input system and then set it to be a certain key. So simplest way to do that is we're going to set it up. So the way this works is you want to first say, if you're pressing a button on the keyboard, we do something. To start that up, we need a conditional. So we do if, like that. From there, I want to get the input system, so I'm going to do input dot get key. Open close parentheses. What this does, input does, is saying, hey, I want to get an input on the keyboard, and then get key is saying, hey, I want to get a certain key from the input that I'm looking for. From there, I'm going to just type in the word key code, so I get a certain key code, and you can type in whatever key code you want. You can type in W, A, S, whichever you want. Just make sure that it's always uppercase and not lowercase. And then from there, this is pretty much set up. So we're saying, hey, if we press the A key on the keyboard, we want to do something. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do open close parentheses, open close curly brackets like that. And I'm just going to put in whatever code I want to activate if I'm pressing that button inside these curly brackets. So first you can just do a simple debug.log just to make sure it works. And I'm going to say, hey, did this work? If it worked, we are good. If it did not, then we know something's wrong. But this is all the code you need to make it get an input whenever we press a button. I'm going to save this, go down here, and just to make sure this works, I'm going to actually apply this to a random object in the scene. So I will click on this guy right here, and I'm going to add this script onto this guy. And now the way this script works is say, hey, if we're pressing the W key on the keyboard, it will do something. Let me just make sure that's the case. No, the A key on the keyboard, it will do something. So I'm going to run the program. And so long as I press the A key on the keyboard, if I click this, it'll say, hey, did this work? Like that. And there we go. That's a simple way to get keyboard input whenever you're working inside of Unity. One quick thing I want to show you guys is how to expand on this. So you can expand this in two different ways. The first thing I'm going to show you is how we can make it so that instead of going to the code each time to change the key, we can make it, we can change that inside of Unity. So normally if you want to change a key in Unity, you have to literally go inside the code, press a new key, save it, go back here, wait for it to compile, and then when you run it, it'll set it to a new key. While this does work, this gets tiring very quickly. What I'm going to do instead is this. I'm going to convert this key code into a variable. So I'm going to go up here above the start function, but before the open curly bracket here. I'm going to press enter a couple of times. Do public key code, and then I'll just type in action as the name of the variable. What this does is it creates a variable for the key here, so that instead of typing in all this every time, all we have to do is just type in the name of the variable here, save it, and now when we go back inside of Unity and click on the character again, we now have a public variable, and when you click this, you'll notice that these are all the individual keys on the keyboard. So instead of typing in like the A key, I can just go here and find letter A, which is somewhere down here. And now when I run it, it'll work like that. Awesome. And the great thing about this is I can actually change the code. Maybe I can do it when I'm running. Let me see. Let me make it backspace. Now when I press backspace, it's a different key, like that. That's one way you can expand on it. Another way you can expand it is just the different way that you actually get an input. So, let me go over here, like so. So I'm going to make a new one here, and I'm going to do the same thing, input.get key. And I want to focus in on this right here. You'll see that right when we have get key, there are 3 different versions of it. We have get key down, and get key up. These 3 are different ways in which you press on the keyboard. So get key down, think of it as if I press down on the keyboard, so I press like the H key. As soon as I hold it down, that's when it will trigger this thing to work. If I do get key up, on the other hand, let me just do this again, get key up. So if I do get key up, that means that whenever I press down on a key, so if I press the space bar, as soon as I release the space bar, that's at the moment that the action would trigger. So these are 2 different ways on how to get this working. And then just to show you again, I'm going to do debug.log, and I'll say this works only when you lift up on keyboard. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back inside Unity. And when I run the program, the action key is going to be used for the same purpose for both conditions. But you'll see that when I press the A button, when I hold it down, it keeps triggering this one right here. Where as soon as I lift up on the keyboard, this one triggers. So there's a difference between get key down, where so long as I'm holding it, it'll work, and get key up. Sorry, I made a mistake. There's a difference between get key. Get key works so long as you're holding the button. Get key up works whenever you let go of the button. And just to show you the last one, get key down. Get key down works only once. Let me actually change this. Press down on the keyboard. Alright, just to show you, get key down. When I press down on the keyboard, this works. When I let go and lift up on the keyboard, this one works. Down, this works. Up, this works. And if I'm holding it down, this is just the regular get key. Alright, so that's how you get keyboard input inside of Unity. I showed you 3 different ways on how to get it done, and I showed you different variations. This should be all you need to make some awesome stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.